Rhea was very happy. She grabbed his face and gave him a
Licked
good
it.
old licking. You know, she gave him a whisper in the ear. I think she said, "I'm going to give you some of that hook tonight." But you know, it's like because Dom looked very happy with whatever she said.
Acknowledge me.
Hello and welcome, maybe for the first time, maybe returning to Bitchin' About Wrestling, where the wise men talk about everything WWE. Joining me for today's episode, we have Alex, and returning after a couple of episodes absence, Neil. How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay. I've come down with COVID the last week, so I've been housebound this week, keeping myself to myself, but I'm okay in health. That's the only way. Alex, how about you?
I'm all good. I am looking forward to reviewing this cheeky episode of Monday Night Raw.
Very cheeky indeed. But before we get on to the cheeky stuff, let's focus on our big story for this week, where we're going to be talking CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is official for SummerSlam.
CM Punk.
Yes, it's all happened on Raw this week. It was announced that CM Punk was going to be there. Drew, we weren't so sure because he was still suspended from last week because he failed to apologize to the referees and he kicked off. But we saw a backstage segment earlier in the program where he's talking with Adam Pearce and a couple of the referees. And it's like, okay, maybe he's come around and it looks like things are working out. CM Punk hits the ring and he's loving life, isn't he? He's really enjoyed himself in WWE right now. And still, again, he's going to the crowd and he keeps going to the crowd behind the hard cam. I've noticed it's just to show, look, this is what full stadiums look like. this is where I want to be. But yeah, so he's having life. And then he came to the ring and he announced that he is officially medically cleared. So he was like, right, we're going to throw down. I want Drew McIntyre tonight. Drew came down. He's like, yep, okay. You want me? Let's go. But actually, I'm not feeling it tonight. And he switched the whole thing around, playing the mind games on CM Punk, which I thought was very, very good because he's been so out of control lately. So that was really nice to see. Adam Pearce comes down and announces that it's official. It's going to be for SummerSlam. But he's got an issue. Neither of them can touch each other because he can't control everything. He's got stuff going on with the Wyatts and everything else that's going on, Bron Breakker, and he's running out of referees. As soon as he said those words, knew what was going to be happening. Burn it down. Out comes Seth freaking Rollins, and he announces, Pearce was very happy to see him. Give him a real embrace where he got into the ring. He announces he's going to be the special guest referee for CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. So, Neil, going to come to you first. Cool. It's a match we probably predicted, right? Mm-hmm. So, do you like the turn of events? And what do you think about Seth being thrown in there as a special guest referee? Did you see that coming?
Yes.
Okay.
Very, very, very much saw it coming. I saw it coming for two reasons. And actually, funnily enough, both of those reasons weren't like from dirt sheets. Mm-hmm. I thought about it. And my first thought was, this is plain and simple. This is the biggest match of the night on SummerSlam Saturday. So a week from now, this is the biggest match of the night. And it needs to have a big finish. And despite the fact that I would say that CM Punk probably looks the best he's ever looked in my limited time of seeing him as a performer, like he looks better than he did in AEW, and he looks better than he did for a number of times I had seen him previously in WWE. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if he's physically up to par. I think Drew is going to carry a lot of this match. Mm-hmm. And you needed something else in there to make it comfortable if Punk can't go, like fully go. And I thought, you put Seth Rollins in there. And I thought, yeah, okay. And I also thought, now would be a lovely time to turn Seth Rollins heel.
Ooh, interesting.
Would it be an accidental heel turn in the fact of
It would be
he probably hates CM Punk more than he hates Drew McIntyre and would rather cost CM Punk the match?
Well, I think it would be a thing of. I think the way I'm looking at this match is I'm looking at this match in the same light that I remember Undertaker versus Kane with Stone Cold as the referee, where it's like, I don't like either of you. I'm going to let you do what you want to each other.
Yeah.
And when the time comes, I'm going to count the pin. But at the same time, it's a thing of, even if you take away the real animosity that certain people had with each other, when you think about it, the last match that Seth Rollins had was for the World Heavyweight Championship. A match he did not win.
And didn't
directly
lose.
Because, and he didn't lose, but directly because of CM Punk. The reason Drew McIntyre is not World Heavyweight Champion is, one, his hubris, but also two, CM Punk. So you have two people who do not like CM Punk as the opponent and the referee, but CM Punk will always be the supreme popular item.
See, I disagree there. And I don't, for me, the reason Seth isn't champion is for Drew. As much as he blames Punk, Drew was the one that came down to cash in and make it a triple threat. CM Punk took McIntyre out. All Seth had to do was make a pin on Drew and he could have become champion. So the narrative that he is blaming CM Punk doesn't ring true for me. He should be angry at Drew for interfering in his one-on-one match with Damian Priest.
But he would have sorry, Neil. He would have fully expected
Drew McIntyre.
Drew to do it, though, because Drew said he was going to do it. So if in kayfabe, he's prepared for that interruption and he can still win that match. But CM Punk made it that Damian Priest won that match at the expense of Drew McIntyre. I get where you're coming from, but it was that match got thrown into disarray because of the presence of CM Punk.
Yeah, because if you already knew at some point in this match or at the end of this match, Drew McIntyre was coming. If he was like, he might as well have been waiting at ringside the entire time. You knew he was going to get involved. CM Punk getting involved, CM Punk took out Drew McIntyre. If CM Punk doesn't take out Drew McIntyre, the match continues. Then maybe Seth Rollins has the opportunity to do something. The fact that Punk got involved, Punk's actions directly led to Drew losing.
Because CM Punk gave Drew McIntyre to Damian Priest. If he just beaten him up and left him outside the ring, in a pile through the announce table, something like that, that's different. But he literally annihilated Drew and then threw him to Damian, to take the loss.
Yeah.
So,
but for me, it's like, well, Seth, you should have been in the ring.
Seth hates both. Seth hates both of them anyway.
It's a thin argument for me. But I would say the narrative is definitely they've both got more beef with CM Punk because we know how Seth Rollins feels about Punk anyway. So he didn't need to take much to trigger him.
Just look back to War Games.
Well, that's it.
At War Games, when he turned up, the most angry person in the ring was Seth Rollins. Now, do we know if that was he didn't know that CM Punk was coming and that was a real reaction?
No, he knew. They were told the day of. I think just before the match, actually.
Just before the match.
So it was literally 10, 15 minutes before the match, they were told because he literally agreed the deal that day with WWE. So they only knew just before. So a lot of the reaction was still been real because he wouldn't have seen him before. The crowd reaction and that would have got to him. So a lot of that reaction probably was genuine. And that's the WrestleMania match we were supposed to get. It was supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. But CM Punk got injured. So, they play with the narrative and we go through with it. Alex, what are your thoughts on all this?
Listen, I think it's great. I didn't actually see the whole Seth Rollins being a referee coming out. I thought I thought they're going to end up making some sort of triple threat with it. I like this dynamic because we don't know what Seth's going to do. He feels like a bit of a Shawn Michaels character in this situation between Triple H and Cena. That kind of vibe to it, where we just don't know where his allegiance is going to lie, and he might just completely screw the match, and he ends up standing on top of everybody at the end of it, which again I wouldn't be mad at. So I think we've said this with a couple of things at the moment. I don't know where it's going to go. I can have ideas, and how brilliant is it to not know where things are going to go? Like I said last week, we knew Cody was going to win the world title. We know some of the things are going to happen, but also there are still a lot of mysteries of what's actually going to take place. Because who do you put over?
Yeah, it's tricky because if you look at Drew McIntyre, he's had a lot of successes to get into positions to challenge for the championship, but it's come short. So it wouldn't be a surprise for him to get the win over CM Punk. He's younger, he's, on the rise, he's in that position. He hasn't just been injured, but CM Punk, it's CM Punk. It's CM Punk, and there's that brand, and he's just come back, and I think he's only had one competitive match, and then the Rumble or something like that. So, he hasn't wrestled much at all. And
the Rumble was his match.
That was it, right? Yeah, I think he had a house show. Was his he had one, so he had one house show,
House show against Dominic.
Yeah, and so then, to put Drew over him at this point, does that really weaken him and his brand in the company? So, I don't know which way I'd actually book it. I'm still undecided which way I'd go. I don't think it is going to be a clean finish either way. Something has got to give. Something has got to happen because there's got to be a rematch. And whether it then turns into a triple threat, I would like to see it eventually be a triple threat for the title, for something to happen there. I don't know.
This doesn't need a title. This feud does not need a title, especially because how do you put Gunther in it? I know we're talking that Damien's gone already, but how do you put Gunther in? You could put Damien into this battle because he's promised Seth another match.
Yeah.
But they're not going to pass over Gunther.
Sure. I think we're looking at it smallly. We're looking at it small fries. What you have is the perfect opportunity to have a triple threat match, a fatal 4-way match, leading into whoever wins the fatal 4-way faces Gunther.
Yeah.
Because it's like why does it have to be that we just go to a triple threat match?
Oh no, it can build up to it. I'm not saying it needs to go straight away.
No triple threat match.
Title match, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't need to go there straight away. I'm thinking maybe that's a WrestleMania match, but I think Punk is going to win his match at WrestleMania because he hasn't had that WrestleMania moment that he keeps talking about. So I think whatever happens, that's something that he's going to go into, but Drew needs his moment as well. Seth's had his moment. Yes, I know he's lost at this WrestleMania, but it doesn't take the shine off him on his
Seth
career.
Doesn't need a title.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't need it.
Seth, I think when we look at it, we have to remember that Drew is owed a real WrestleMania moment. Yes. Because his WrestleMania moments, both of them, have come problematically. He won the title.
Well, one was COVID.
One was COVID.
No audience.
And then when he does win, he's champion for less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that, I'm like, Drew McIntyre, he needs a real strong WrestleMania moment. So I see that coming. Seth could lose the next 5 WrestleMania matches he has.
It doesn't matter.
And still be Seth freaking Rollins because
agreed.
His legacy exceeds it all.
Put it this way, I'm like, WWE's, when they go like then, now, forever, together, right? We have to remember that now still holds Seth Rollins running down to the ring with that briefcase at WrestleMania, right? No matter what he does, he always has that. One of the few people to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. One of the
Dude is a
few
guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer already, without a shadow of a doubt. His legacy is cemented. He could lose every match for the rest of his career now.
I'm still saying he's going to be a double Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I wonder, actually, it might not be involving a title. I wonder it might be CM Punk versus Cena at WrestleMania.
Nope.
I wonder if they'll go down that route, but we'll talk about
the whole Cena thing throws a complete random dice in the mix.
Because for me, he has to win a title. He can
beat anybody, and he can face anybody because he has history with everybody. The only people he doesn't have history with is Drew and Damien.
Yeah.
He's got history with everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be a match with Orton, CM Punk, a match with Seth. There's loads there. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what and it'll go across both brands as well, because obviously he's not drafted to one or the other. So he'll face whoever he's facing. So
if we talk about how these three plus Damien end up towards a WrestleMania title match with Gunther, though, I want to see a fatal 4-way Hell in a Cell. I think that with those four, I mean, CM Punk would get broken again, but I think a fatal 4-way with that lot would be immense. And also, it means whoever loses doesn't come off weak.
Yeah,
because it's a fucking Hell in a Cell match. The winner comes off strong, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
listen,
and CM Punk could win that.
I've seen enough Hell in a Cells to say the winner does not always come off looking strong.
No, it's true.
Right.
This is going to be the first of many matches between Drew and Punk. Think, minimum 3 has got to be.
Yeah,
not going to be one, and
it can be more.
This feud that involves the 3 of them, I can envision this adding or subtracting, like people coming in and out, will continue until WrestleMania.
Agreed. Okay,
and bring it.
Oh God, yeah. Right, let's move on, and we're gonna we say move on. We're gonna have a little look back at SmackDown from last week. So we're gonna talk about the events there. The show opened with Cody Rhodes. He was cutting a promo against the Bloodline. He was interrupted by A-Town Down Under, and for me, it was a bit of a sloppy opening. I didn't necessarily feel Cody's promo that much. It didn't do much for me. But then once A-Town Down Under got in and the chair was introduced, there's a couple of quite poor botches there. Grayson Waller, he hunched over for quite a few seconds waiting for that chair shot from Cody. And then when he threw it to Austin Theory, he held the chair there for quite a few seconds to allow Cody to jump up with it. It was just a really sloppy opening. I wasn't a fan of that. What did you guys think of the opening of SmackDown?
I just think...
Are we bored with Cody already?
I'm not bored with Cody, but the problem is Cody is original trilogy Luke Skywalker. He is creme de la creme ultra babyface. And the problem with that is you can only be creme de la creme ultra babyface if your opponent is an absolute villain.
Yeah.
And the Bloodline are out and out villains, of course, but at present moment, the most heinous thing they did was destroy Paul Heyman. And we know that the person who's going to get revenge for Paul Heyman is not going to be Cody Rhodes.
No.
So it's sort of like Cody is left in this he's left in this position where he's like, it's not that he is boring, but he doesn't have a villain that makes him interesting enough.
He's holding down the fort until Roman comes back.
Yeah. And Cody refers to him as a chair filler. Yeah, he does. And it's, I think, obviously, they've got a timeline, which they are working towards. And in terms of Roman coming back and the time that he has off, I felt they went after Cody too early. I didn't think the bloodline was strong enough and had been dominant enough against enough opponents to be in the position where they are at the moment, where they're really feared. I think they needed to cut through some teams, maybe even have some tag matches, and Solo needed to just, finish a couple of opponents really strong to kind of put him in that position, because he's just saying, I am the tribal chief now, but I'm like, yeah, but what have you done? Yeah, okay, you've acted a little menacing towards Paul Heyman, but really, what's anybody got to fear from you? I don't get that from him.
He's
But
like,
go on now.
he's like Tommen.
Go on.
He's like, yeah, you remember there was Joffrey, and Joffrey was scary. And then there was his little brother Tommen. And Tommen was just like, for lack of a better term, Tommen was a total bitch.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Game
what's
of
the
Thrones.
reference?
Oh,
Right. Okay. Yes.
You had
Yes.
Joffrey, who was just that villain, and everybody's like, I can't wait for Joffrey to be dead. And then Joffrey was dead, and Tommen was king, and you were like, who the fuck are you? And it was like, Tommen was king, but you didn't care about him because you had, I think it was a Ramsay Bolton, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that in between Joffrey and Ramsay, you had Tommen. That is what Solo is right now.
Yeah.
And Solo should feel like Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah, but Jacob Fatu feels like Ramsay. He's the one with all the heat. He's the one that's pulling it together.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, right? You know me, Ken. You know how much I watch horror films. I get a tinge of fear whenever I see Solo talking, and you just see the prayer hands behind him of Jacob Fatu. I'm just like, nah, it's all right. Yeah, Solo, I'll take you on by yourself.
Exactly that. Alex, what's your thoughts?
See, I think the form that the Bloodline is currently in is great for the story, and it's great to go up against Cody and to topple Cody, because it adds to that story of I did what Roman couldn't do.
Yes.
My only gripe is they started it too soon. I don't believe they should have gone running through the rest of the division, because them coming back for anybody else other than Cody doesn't make any sense. So them coming back and going straight after Cody makes sense to me, but it happened straight after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It should have been, even if it was a month or 6 weeks, to be like all of a sudden Cody's having a match. He beat somebody in a pay-per-view, and then it could have been at the end of France. At the end of the pay-per-view.
They started their beef with Randy and KO first, didn't they? So they started with him first and having Cody in the background.
But
he was still always involved. Cody was never far from
it. No.
But what I mean is that it's just that case of he shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have happened so quickly, but it still should have taken the path that it is currently taking. I have no issues with the arc that we have led. I think Solo is doing a great job. I really, really do. And I know he's got stick online. I know he gets booed, and it's great that he gets booed. He's getting really good heat. And it's just that case of how much time do we have to fill before Roman comes back, which is why it should have been delayed on the start, because it just feels like Cody is treading water when he could be doing so much more. Because at the moment it's okay. Paul got beaten up, Randy got beaten up, then KO got beaten up. Okay, there's no one else to beat up now. So now they're making obviously Cody watch and all this kind of stuff, which is great storytelling. But it just feels like they're kicking the can until Roman's music hits.
See, I everything you're saying makes sense, but I just have a niggling suspicion, a niggling feeling, right?
Ooh, tell me.
So, I think they have done things incorrectly in regards to the whole bloodline going after Cody, but what I think should have happened is, because Cody beat Roman in that big WrestleMania finale that he finished the story, there's no other reason that essentially Cody should have had one match, which was the AJ Styles match, where he won and won clean, and that was the end of it. Every single title match he should have had after that match, he should have won, because his opponent was disqualified because he is getting attacked by the bloodline over and over and over again. And it should have led to all the opponents who faced Cody for the title, them having a beef with the bloodline, and them going after the bloodline, not in defense of Cody, but because they've been screwed out of a title. And then and then have the bloodline just run through all of them. And that way you're like, okay, I can see basically. So it's like as crazy as it sounds, basically the title was barely ever defended. And the reason it's barely ever defended because Solo's just like, nobody's taking this title from you but me.
But me. Yeah.
So I'm every time you have a match, if I'm not the person you're facing, I'm coming for you and I'm gonna hurt you and I'm gonna deal with you over and over and over again. Because like you said, Alex, it is just kicking the can down the road until Roman turns up. But I just, as you said those words, I had a flash in my head of when Roman returned to beat up The Fiend and Braun Strowman. And that was just like, oh, the happy smiling Roman is gone. This, the goatee having Roman's gone. We got the beard, we got the man Roman, right? Coming in, just whooping us.
Yeah.
And
let's not mention about him beating the Fiend though, because that was an error.
Right. Yeah, but errors are errors. But that in itself, him just turning up. And all I can think to myself now is what needs to happen. I just envision these two ideas of it coming. One is Jimmy Uso returns and just is the chairman of the board, is just swinging a steel chair at everything that's got his bloodline connected to it. Or I remember Kane got injured years ago. And I remember when Kane returned, he got injured by D-Generation X. And I remember his return was Paul Bearer came out in the red Kane jacket, big spotlight on him, and he had the fattest smile. And then the music hit, and then Kane came out. I just need like Solo wins. And he's like, I'm the champion. And then you just hear, my name is
Ladies
Paul
and
Heyman.
gentlemen. Yeah.
Yes. And then he's just looking, and even if they have it, have him come out with a cane, right? Have him sell the injury, have him come out with a cane, but have him fresh-faced.
Fresh and
just
fired up, rested.
Happy.
Rested him. I have him come out, and then it was just like, and I am the wise man.
Yeah. I think I'd rather that than the music just hitting and Roman coming out. I think the crowd would pop crazy for Heyman coming out for him to introduce
Heyman
him
coming
back.
out, and it would just be like,
has Heyman ever been a face before?
Yes.
Has he?
Yeah,
okay. I've never known him as a heel.
As a GM, he was a face a number of times.
Against like Vince and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's move on. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. This was a cracking match on SmackDown.
Told you it would be.
Really great. Yeah, exactly. We said
it would be. Said it would be
two great athletes. We weren't sure who was going to go over, but ultimately Andrade came out on top, and wasn't upset with that. So Alex, what was your thoughts?
I thought it was banger. Just, I mean, the thing that I liked is, even when they had that slight error with the Spanish fly off the middle ropes, they dealt with it well, because it's the kind of thing of, you would want to try and get off the rope. So he made it that he kind of got himself out of it and then went on to do something else. And then they did it during the fucking commercial break, which was really annoying because it's an amazing move. But no, the psychology in that match was great, because you just had Andrade who just wanted to get down and dirty, and then you had Carmelo who's just trying to do all his flash, and he nearly hit the what's his leg drop off the top rope, what's it called?
Nothing but net.
Nothing but net, that's the one. Had a miss of that. And to be fair, how that went into Andrade's finisher was, I didn't quite understand how they did that from a physiological point of view. But yeah, great. So I want to see it again. So I want to see a different stipulation. I want Carmelo to get really pissed off about it and attack and attack Andrade backstage, and we get some sort of street fight or whatever, and a different thing. And then Carmelo can win that one, and then we can have another one at a pay-per-view, because that's got pay-per-view feud finisher all over it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Neil, what were your thoughts?
I mean, personally, I'm like, anytime Carmelo steps in the ring, it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrade has proven over and over and over and over again that when he is in the mood, he will give you a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The funny thing was, even though it was a botch or kind of a botch,
Mm-hmm.
what it did storyline wise was it said that, Carmelo learns that Spanish fly thing, because
he did it.
I'm pretty sure, he did it at Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the fact that he got off the ropes and it was like, and it's like a nice coverage.
You're not going to get me
like,
again. Yeah.
Yes, I learn.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good shout.
It was
good
lovely.
shout.
And I think it's just, again, it's like just another showcase. Because, I mean, let's face it, Andrade is established, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been NXT champion. He's been a champion in WWE, like main roster. He didn't need to establish how great he is again.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Hayes is more on the I need to establish myself on Raw and SmackDown. And I mean, technically, he's already had a great show of it. He had matches against Randy Orton and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like it is building to something very nice. And the only problem I have is, where do you go from there?
Yeah, it's a slow build for him, and he's got time. He's a lot younger, so he has got the time to establish himself in that brand. But you can't have him lose too often, otherwise people will lose interest.
But it's why I see him winning this feud, and then going after LA Knight. He won't beat LA Knight, but he'll go. He has a legitimate opportunity to go after LA Knight after beating Andrade to go for the US title, which is the right place for him to be, because listen, he's not going to join a tag team. He's not obviously going to be anywhere near the Universal title, but not called the Universal title anymore, is it? WWE title anymore. So I see him having a decent run in that situation. He doesn't even have to go straight against LA Knight. Again, that's the type of title they'll do tournaments for. And quite happy to have a tournament for that, and him to go over and look strong in that tournament, even if he does then ultimately lose to LA Knight. Yeah.
I think there is one thing though that I do find a little problematic. I can imagine that after that match against Andrade, I can imagine there'll be maybe two more. Give it a three-peat.
Mm-hmm.
But then I can almost see like he'll be LA Knight's first challenger. And you guys might dislike it. I don't think LA Knight has the move set to carry a match against Carmelo.
Mm.
And I think it will just look like this epic ring not even technician, this epic ring acrobat pulling off these wonderful moves to then get hit with a BFT and lose.
Yeah, but that happens.
LA's a brawler.
Styles.
LA's a brawler. Stone Cold was a brawler.
Mm-hmm.
Really, go and look at Stone Cold's moveset.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd be surprised, because remember,
there's neck breakers there's neck breakers. Yeah, I get that he was the ringmaster and he was a good technical wrestler. Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't a technical wrestler.
No.
Stone Cold Steve Austin was a brawler, and he just kicked your ass. And LA Knight has the physique and the presence to be a brawler that's just going to kick your ass. And he can still jump up to the top rope and suplex you off of it.
Yeah, I can't deny that. That's true.
All right, let's move on. Then we had Bianca Belair. She defeated Chelsea Green 1-on-1. Thoughts on that one, gentlemen?
I will always love a Bianca Belair match, and I will love it even more if Chelsea Green's in it. So, and because she's fucking hilarious, and
she's
just
such a great character.
Just makes me laugh. Listen, she's obviously never going to beat Bianca because Bianca's the best. But I just need this to. I need this whole thing that Neil has foreseen, and for Bianca and Jade to turn on each other to spice up this story. And I also really, really want to see the Chelsea Green that I sent you guys in that video from when she played when she went up against Penta back in the Indies. That woman's incredible.
Underground.
Yeah, she's been posting a lot of that stuff on Twitter. You know, she's been, because people have been posting about it. And she's been retweeting a lot of that stuff.
The thing is, as well, is people going, oh, she's wasted it, but she loves the character she's playing. At the moment.
Yeah, she does.
She's not unhappy.
No, and she just wants people to be aware of what she's capable of.
Absolutely, because one day they'll pull the trigger on it, and it will probably be when she breaks up with Piper Niven.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Then we had Logan Paul and LA Knight. They had their contract signing for SummerSlam. Obviously, LA Knight had already signed his. Called Logan Paul out to sign his contract. I thought it was a decent face-to-face. It's not how I would have booked it. I took on the last episode. I would have gone LA Knight, trying different ways to get Logan Paul to sign the contract. I thought they could have been really funny story elements to get that done. But they've gone just for the, face-to-face, aggressive, I want to beat you, I'm better than you kind of thing. And I don't know. It was
still a good promo from Logan.
It was, it was good. I don't know.
It's not what you
I don't feel it. Yeah, it's not what I wanted, but I don't know if I'm really feeling it at the moment between those two. The contract signing didn't get me excited. What did he do for you guys?
Go on, Neil.
I think I actually was a little more excited after the promos, because the thing is, why for me, I'm like, one of the things that makes Drew McIntyre so brilliant is you hear what he says, you don't want to agree with it because he's a heel, but then a part of you says, where was the lie?
Talking facts, bro.
Facts.
And when Logan Paul was giving that dressing down to LA Knight, I was listening and I was like, yeah, you're Logan Paul. You're Logan Paul. But there was a little voice in my head that was like, where was the lie? Where was the lie?
No lies. No lies.
And I just thought, and it was like when he said, when he was like, the thing he said, he was like, you're trying to be like trying to be Rock. And Logan Paul, LA Knight was like, coming up with old material. And I was like, yeah, but it's relevant material.
I did pop when he said that.
Yeah, because I was like, it's relevant material, because you know what? We just saw The Rock a couple months ago. And sir, there's levels. And whilst you are great at what you do, you are not on that level.
It's only because he's got a bassy voice and he takes the piss out of people.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is that. I don't think it is that at all. I think there's a certain way that you carry yourself that gives that feel of, you're channeling this person before you. You're channeling this person that came before you, right? It's like Seth Rollins sounds nothing like Shawn Michaels. But when he gets real passionate, he's channeling that Shawn Michaels that I remember, especially when he's a heel. And I'm just like,
they are incredibly similar. I've always thought that. And even in their ring, as far as in ring work goes, they are very similar in the way they perform, and they're equally the best of their time. I still don't think I still hold to my heart that, as in total ring performer, and I'm not just talking about the moves you can do, ring psychology, the way you put together a match from beginning to end. I don't think there's anyone better at the moment than Seth Rollins. It's like I watched the I know we're talking AEW here, but I watched the MJF Will Ospreay match, and it was incredible. I mean, the things that they did was phenomenal, and they told a great story. But my issue has always been with Will Ospreay is he's the flips and the stunts before anything else. And yes, he probably does the flips and the stunts better than anybody else on the planet. I think that match was so good because MJF was so good.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is when you talk about complete, I don't think there's anybody more complete than Seth Rollins. I don't see enough of it. Maybe MJF. But I'll have to wait till he gets in a WWE ring because I haven't got time for AEW. I haven't got time for NXT, let alone AEW.
Right. Michin, she had a match with Tiffany Stratton. So thanks to an assist from Bailey, Michin picked up the win. Big win for her to feed Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. Then we had an incident where Bailey, when she took out Nia Jax, she destroyed the Money in the Bank briefcase. And we're definitely going to see a Tiffy time briefcase for sure.
See, I thought she was going to come out with her own done up bag because she came out slightly differently. She came out with a spotlight on her, so I thought she was going to come out with a different bag, and then all of a sudden, then I saw Bailey smashing it up. I'm like, so they're doing it that way, so they have to do it. I guess they just palmed off a new one to Damien, so they can't do the same thing 2 years in a row.
Yeah. How do you feel the story is going then with them? Because I think it's going to be a tag team next week. I think it's Bailey and Michin versus Stratton and Nia Jax. How do you see this feud?
I imagine that they are going to win the match. I imagine that Michin's going to take the pinfall. And I imagine that it is going to lead quite nicely into the fact that Bailey is going to beat Nia Jax.
Ooh. You think go on. I want to hear this.
That does not necessarily mean she's going to leave with the title.
Huh? Oh, right, yeah.
Cash in. Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen yet. I think there's more fun in a story where Jax beats Bailey.
She's champion, and Stratton has the cash in
and runs around with her and blah blah blah, and then eventually we get the Tiffany face turn while she takes it from Jax.
I'd leave that a couple of months.
However much I'd like to see more done with Bailey.
Okay, so then we had Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens versus A-Town Down Under. This was yeah, exactly.
It was bonkers.
It was quite a match, and I don't know. I do enjoy watching A-Town Down Under.
I think they're great.
Team. I think they're really entertaining. Yeah, and but yeah, a lot of back and forth, and Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens won, but then the Bloodline came down and beat the crap out of them. So yeah, thoughts on the match and the ending of SmackDown?
It made sense. They took out Randy. They're basically taking out all his support.
Yeah, everybody he loves and cares about. Yeah.
And I love the making him watch thing. They didn't just beat up both of them. I really like the whole. This is because of you. Yeah. Your friends are getting hurt because of you, and I love that psychology of it. And this time, rather than tying him up in the ropes, they were just holding him while they again powerbombed him through the table. So. No, this is bubbling nicely, but they have to end it with Solo winning the title.
Agreed.
None of it means anything, and I will bitch about it.
That's what we're here for.
Over there, I will bitch about it if Solo doesn't win that title, because if he doesn't win the title, it is the wrong decision from a storyline point of view. But as I think we mentioned last week, there are bean counters, and it's a business. And I worry the business might take precedence over the story.
Yeah.
Neil's deep in thought.
Yeah. I can almost see the thought bubbles.
Put yourself on mute. I can hear gears whirring around.
Do you know what it is? There's only one reason why I see it not being the right call for Solo to win the title. Is it robs you of the Randy Orton heel turn, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, because you now have a legitimate reason for why Randy Orton turns on Cody Rhodes. Because this is a Randy Orton who's come back from injury. This is heavy injuries, having surgery and stuff. This is him coming back. He comes back at the behest of Cody Rhodes, because Cody needed a final man for War Games. He called Randy Orton. bringing him in. And it's like, oh, cool. And they've already had that speak about their dynamic, the mentorship, and the, and now we're on the same level kind of thing. And then we've all seen, whenever like Randy's just looking at that title, like,
but it doesn't fit into what is currently going on.
Yeah, how do you move away from the bloodline to their match without Roman coming back and it being him and Solo? I think there's too much.
It has to happen.
But you have, the thing is, you can have a screwy finish to a match. Because remember, this is one. I know we don't want it that way, but
it's got to be beat significantly.
Right? Yeah, but he can be beat up significantly.
No, that's not the same.
For whatever reason,
it's not the same.
What do you think? Are we going to have some match stipulations?
Probably not. Right? But the reason I say we think about it is, you think about it like this. If Cody beat Roman at WrestleMania Hollywood, we don't get final boss. So sometimes not getting what you want means that you're going to get what you want. Sometimes. Not all the time. Not all the time. I hold my hands up. Not all the time. But I'm just I'm not even trying to say.
No, it's a good point.
I'm just looking at things and I'm like, okay, at some point, Randy Orton's going to turn heel. That's what Randy Orton does.
Of course.
In fact, think about it. Randy Orton and Kevin Owen are the two most pro people to turn heel who currently work in the company. The only other person who turned heel more times than those two was the Big Show. Right?
God, the Big Show, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right.
The problem is, and I see everything you're saying, and we do need the Randy Orton heel turn, and it is the seeds have been planted for that for ages. But the current story doesn't work with Randy Orton turning heel on Cody in the middle of it. If Cody beats Solo, technically he beats the bloodline. What do you need Roman to come back for?
But this is what I'm saying. You don't need to have Cody. Cody doesn't need to win the match. He just doesn't need to lose the title. And the thing is that, like, you think of it like that, right? Say you have, hypothetically, I'm spitballing. Say you have Jimmy come back and cost Solo the match. Right? Let's say hypothetically that's how it happens. And let's say when we say that's how it happens, we have him come back and attack Solo, right?
Yeah.
Hit him with a chair or something. So Solo has won the match, but he has not won the title. Now
it's a DQ. Yeah.
It's a DQ. So now you have Solo's like, okay, I'm going to have to put pause on Cody whilst I go deal with family business. That spirals into adding Jay into it, because right now Jay's whole thing was trying to get Mummy, which we'll get into later. But he was trying to take her to the Waffle House. But that's done, considering, right? Or it's on pause considering what happened on Monday. But if that doesn't pick up, then you've got one of the hottest stars in WWE just available, doing nothing, because he's not in a title picture and he's not in a feud. So what happens if he's like, you know what? I'm not really feeling what's happening to my twin brother right now.
He could he could ask for a trade. He could be asked to be traded back to go deal with family business. We don't know. But yeah, something that's possible.
See, for me, the way I'd like the way it can work for me is you have Solo go over and win the title at SummerSlam. Then they're all destroying Cody at the end of it. Roman comes back. They end up in a feud together of Roman trying to get back what was his, and then it gets to whichever pay-per-views are coming up, and you have Solo versus Roman. The Rock comes back, screws over Roman, which then leads into War Games, which then means Roman hasn't got to be anywhere near the title, because it can be him and The Rock up until WrestleMania, and then Cody can win the title back, defeating the Bloodline from that side of things, and then him and Randy can happen.
I mean, I see where you're going. The only issue is what we currently have. This Bloodline 2.0 is they need to face the OG Bloodline, right? Yep. And in my head, I am not even joking, right? I had a dream about this shit, right? I did it. I swear to you.
Thank God I'm not the only one that dreams about wrestling.
the original Bloodline members, they were called like the Samoan Dynasty. Like they weren't even called the Bloodline again. They were called the Samoan Dynasty, and it was the Usos, Roman, and Rock. And it was the Samoan Dynasty versus the Bloodline.
Oh, you had it that way. Okay.
Yeah, because the thing is, Rock turning on or screwing over Roman. The crazy thing is, in my mind, it needs to be the thing that ignites them to WrestleMania.
Yeah. See, I would
so
keep
you
Rock
can't
out
have
of it.
Yeah, so you can't have it happen too early. So I'm like, if you have it that it's, because if you think about it properly, right? We're at the end of July as we speak, right? SummerSlam is August. So you have August, September, October, November. November will be when we have War Games or Survivor Series as is. So you've got 4 months to get to that. Then you have what? That's November. So then you have December, January, February, March, April. You've got another 4 months to build to WrestleMania. That is, to me, that is too long to have The Rock turn.
The Rock, I wouldn't bring him in until January.
That's like Rumble. That's a Rumble event, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought Sami Zayn would be in it. So I thought it'd be Roman, the Usos, and Sami as the original Bloodline. Because what you're doing then is you're coming full circle. Because as the Bloodline, they were the evil force. Yes, Sami Zayn was like almost a comic relief, but they were the most hated faction in WWE.
They were the big
four of them. They're the four of them. So now a complete face turn, all four of them back together again, Usos and Honorary Us, that there'll be them four original Bloodline versus new Bloodline. So, and then I would have Rock come in January to be like, well, I need to sort this out, because you're going to still have two factions almost. So he's going to be like, I'm going to bring this family together. And that's where the mix happens.
So. I only see Rock coming back as a heel and going after Roman. I don't.
Oh yeah, no, but
I don't see it any other way. Which is you fucked up, basically.
Oh yeah, no, but he'll come back as the heel, but he'll be like I'm taking control of this shit, and Roman's will be like, no, and then that's where it'll come. But I think Solo will bow down to The Rock eventually, and then might have him on their side, but we'll see. Right, let's move on to Monday Night Raw. Gunther opened the show. Big crowd reaction for him. Booed out the building. It was brilliant. Great heel work.
He got a lot of heat for his comments, promo last week, and he was talking about general people. There was nothing, from my point of view. It was always a case that it was classist rather than anything else. And I just love the fact that he came back and just went, "Don't apologize. Fuck you."
Yeah, everything I said is true.
Everything I said is true. And then Damo turns up and just decides to beat him up.
Yeah, goes to say something that let's just fight. And again, so we had security.
I'm hyped
come
for
out.
That match.
Yeah, it's going to be a good match. And again, I don't know what these security guys get paid, but obviously not enough, because it's just always put aside. But their backstage brawl was pretty good. I thought it was quite solid, throwing into a lot of things, and it looked really good. But Damien, he's such a proper face now. Do you know what I mean? And the only way that was really going to happen was having such a great heel in Gunther, because your hero is only as good as your villain, and they've played this so well.
But it's necessary, man. It's necessary. It's needed. Because the thing is, Gunther is the perfect wrestling heel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree.
Because he's not a heel because he's got some really like, oh, you don't like me, so I don't like you. He's just like, no, I know I'm the best.
Superiority.
And I know I'm superior to all of you in the audience, and I'm superior to everyone you might consider a peer in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And I've proven it.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, right?
He can back it up.
Right? I mean, I'm like, some of the times, Sheamus's chest ain't never been the same since Gunther
and it's
square dance with him.
And
it bleeds without touching. It's just almost,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, he is the whitest man on the planet, but
yeah, but I'm like, a stiff breeze reminds his blood vessels of Gunther, and he just bleeds for nothing.
Yeah.
So I was like, and it's almost like it's the unspoken thing. It's the elephant in the room. When this guy faces the world champion, he's going to win. And when he is the champion, he's going to hold that title for some time.
Yeah. Because to be fair, who in wrestling has had a more dominant championship reign of high quality matches, clean finishes against top people?
Yeah, frequent matches as well.
Frequent as well. He defended it a lot. I mean, I'd love to know the stats of how many times in 600 odd days that he had the title, 666 days, and how many times he defended that title, because it was a lot. It was pretty much every pay-per-view and occasionally on Raw.
Yeah.
And it was impressive, and he would win things decisively. He would come back from adversity. It was a proper title reign. It was, in my opinion, it was more impressive than Roman's reign, because Roman never did it on his own. But that was the whole point of the story. But it's that case of he is an absolute genuine threat, and it's a case of, right, well, who can take the title off of him? Who can beat him one-on-one? Because what he'll do is it'll be the whole thing. He's learned from what happened to him against Sammy, and he won't be cocky again, and he'll be clinical.
Yeah, it reminds me. It's got a little bit of a Rocky Drago kind of feel to it, where he was like the superior. He's like the better genetics. He's better.
He does.
Exactly that. And he's just like couldn't care for anybody else. He's just there to do a job. And then you have the guy from the streets. He's worked at everything for his life, and he's not going to give it up without a fight, kind of thing. So yeah,
he's going to give it up though. He's going to get his ass kicked.
Oh well, I'm not convinced. I don't think he's going to drop it this pay-per-view. I don't think he will.
I got to admit, I was very surprised they put him against Braun Strowman and gave him a strong, clean win against Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
I was very surprised by that, which does lean into what you're saying. But I just don't see a world in where it makes any sense for Gunther to win and then for Gunther to lose, and stay in the title picture. He needs some momentum because he hasn't had a proper match in ages.
Yeah, I mean, he lost at WrestleMania, and I suppose, but he's won King of the Ring. So, there is that element of that, he went through a lot of people to get into that position. I think if it's a, close match, look, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be some Judgment Day shenanigans in this, because we didn't get it in the last pay-per-view, which I thought we would. But
he doesn't want it, though. He doesn't want the shenanigans.
I know, but that is why I think it might happen in this pay-per-view, because we haven't really mentioned it at all this time, and I'm wondering whether they will come down and interfere, which is why he will lose. He'll be DQ'd, like Gunther may win, but again, maybe not win the title, and that will play more into the Judgment Day breaking up scenario. But I think Damien's going to retain at this point. But anyway, we'll talk more about that. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in our predictions. We'll do predictions next week. Right, we'll talk about Ilya Dragunov versus Bron Breakker. Another hell of a match. Really, two fantastic athletes put on a hell of a show. And Bron Breakker with basically a TKO. He speared Dragunov in midair outside of the ring. Referee said, cannot continue. And that's it. He picked up the win.
No, the referee, I think what it was that was probably always the finish. but I think it inadvertently looked better than they intended it to, because he speared him, and even though they said his head hit the apron, it was like his shoulder hit the apron, and I think they just utilized a part of his body hit the apron. It was upper body, so we can say, oh, his head hit the ring buckle, and then he's done. Because the thing is, I think Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Gunther, Braun Breaker, and Ilya, the 5 of them are just heavy hitting. I'm just like, it might, sometimes I watch them compete and I just think, you do realize this is WWE, right? This is not New Japan. You don't need to hit each other. Like, you don't have to wait for the crowd to get silent to hit each other.
Yeah, some of those knees that Dragunov hits are just phenomenal.
I mean,
the H bomb that scares me.
The level of selling from Ilya Dragunov is like Dolph Ziggler level selling.
Yeah,
the
expressions on his face, and you hear him above everything. In terms of the pain, the screaming out, hear him above the crowd and everything. Yeah, it's just like he's like emotionally invested in every single match. He really puts it out there. But yeah, that was the number 1 contenders match, the Intercontinental Championship, and that means Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. So
now Braun's going to win.
It has to. Yeah, it has to.
It's going to kill him.
Yeah.
Gonna kill him. I think it should be a squash.
Yeah, I would.
I think it'll be awesome to be a 3-minute, 4-minute squash. I think it'll be awesome. Oh, what's wrong, Neil? Looks like he's forgotten something.
Oh, he's just had a thought about booking.
What if by having Braun Breaker win, it frees up Sammy
to go back to the bloodline.
Go back to bloodline business.
Yeah, exactly. And we had that on this. We'll come on to that, but we had the event where it was Jey Uso and Sami Zayn versus Judgment Day. So
can't wait to talk about that match.
They're already looking out for each other, and it's all happening. It's all happening. So we had backstage segments of the Judgment Day. Dom is worried about Jey Uso. He pulls our mummy aside and it's just like, I saw this stuff on social media and about the number and stuff. And some of the stuff people were posting were brilliant. And I love that they fed into that. And,
someone did an AI image of them at the Waffle House.
That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. And
honestly,
she's just like, I'm just having a bit of fun.
Is anything better at the moment at progressing the story than WWE social media at the moment?
Oh no,
WWE socials is absolutely on point, and it is directly feeding into the stories. Like a few weeks ago when Drew McIntyre got suspended, and he deleted all of his social media, all for storyline. It's just they're just doing it so well.
No, my favorite Drew McIntyre right now was when he had Eminem's song "Stand" playing in the background, and he was just sitting there like he's writing rhymes, and then we just heard CM Punk is a bitch.
I've not seen that. No, my favorite was still during the match where he took his phone off of his wife and brought
to work. That's amazing. Right, then we had Lyra Valkyria versus Sonya Deville. We had Kaden Carter and Katana Chance out to back Lyra, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark backing Sonya. Sonya picked up the victory after Lyra got distracted by the events outside the ring. Should be a lesson learned there. And it was a fairly decent match. And I think that Sonya Deville's actually looking quite good in the ring at the moment. What do you guys think?
She always looked good in the ring. And I actually liked the way they finished it because Lyra jumped through the ropes to save her friends on the outside, got caught. And then Sonya did her move. So I quite liked that. I still don't care about Lyra Valkyria. Don't know why. There's no appeal for me to her at the moment. I care more about Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. I like them as a tag team. I just feel like they're just trying to shove Lyra into something so that she's on air because they obviously have big plans for her. But they've got to figure it out. They have to make something more of her. And to be fair, she shouldn't be anywhere near this new Sonya Deville faction, because the Sonya Deville faction should be running roughshod through everybody. You know, which is why what then happened later on, I don't think made much sense in the grand scheme.
No, agreed. Yeah, we'll come on to that, definitely. So then, we touched on it just before. So Sami Zayn was being interviewed backstage, heard noises, and he came to the rescue of Jey Uso, who'd been getting beaten down by JD Madonna and Carlito because Judgment Day had split up looking for Jey. We had Liv cornering Dom backstage, and just that
brilliant.
Woman, just like, gonna talk to you later, interrupted. And I thought there was going to be something there with Finn. I'm not necessarily convinced now, but I'm still unsure. What's happening there. But the OG bloodline reconnecting, as we said, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn reconnecting there. We had Xavier Woods, Otis, and Akira Tozawa with Maxine Dupree versus the Final Testament. It was a 6-man tag. And I thought the Alpha Academy, they performed quite well, and I think it was kind of the shackles are off, they're not under Chad's restraint anymore. They're like enjoying themselves wrestling. But ultimately it was Cross with the pinfall on Xavier Woods. I think as a tag team, I think AOP are a little bit wasted. I think they could be quite a dominant tag team in the division if they were done properly and just, but I just don't care about this feud at all with the Final Testament and that. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
It's a messy feud because it's just taking people who are on the fringe of being really popular and putting them together to just give people
something to do.
Yeah.
You've literally said exactly what I was, almost word for word what I was going to say. And it's just and because I love the New Day. The New Day are brilliant. I think Karrion Kross is massively overlooked. I think his character work is great. I think he looks like a dominant force in the ring, as you said about AOP. Again, they could be like a Bludgeon Brothers level tag team, because they have the physicality to them and they can go. And I think both of them have legit actual combat backgrounds as well. So it's one of those things of I don't get why the Alpha Academy have been thrown into this. It doesn't make any sense to me. It should have just been they continued to beat up on Kofi and Xavier. And then, maybe you do have while the New Day turn heel. And it hurts me to say it, but maybe it's
the problem is even if you turned one of the New Day heel, once they have that feud against each other, what do either of them do?
Apart, they're quite weak in a sense of, like you say, where does their run go? Right, so obviously Chad Gable comes out and he officially announces he's recruited the Creed brothers, but he does offer Otis and Akira and Dupree to come back to him under him as their coach. But Otis calls him out and he says, no, we're not supporting you. Gable sends the Creed brothers out to attack them. Almost backfires because Otis overpowers them for a brief moment and he gets Chad and you think he's about to throw a move down on him, but it doesn't happen. Creed brothers come to the rescue. And just before they go to beat down Otis with the chairs, the lights go out, the spotlight comes on, and the Wyatt Six appear, or at least 4 of them appeared on the stage. And then we had Uncle Howdy appear in the ring and giving a Sister Abigail to Gable.
Before this, we had the video.
Oh, the Nikki Cross video.
The Nikki Cross video was before that.
Which
was fucking creepy.
It was creepy,
It was so creepy.
It was creepy, but I don't think it was enough. I think she was shortchanged compared to what Rowan had the week before. I think that.
But Rowan's got more of a connection to it.
Yeah, I know.
I
I
think that's
wanted to spend more time with the character. But
I think the whole point is Rowan is Rowan. Rowan is Rowan, who was friends with Brody, who was friends with with Bray,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a story.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki's story is obviously obviously that's been baked for ages, where she was neglected and left on her own and went a little bit nuts. But also, she's Sister Abigail, which I think is Abby the Witch. Abby the Witch.
Yeah,
sorry,
Abby the Witch. Yeah.
So I think her story is a little bit different, and her character, she isn't Nikki Cross, who is joined the Wyatt Six. She is Abby the Witch. I think it's very much a case of it's slightly different because they didn't mention Nikki, because they didn't mention Nikki Cross.
No, and that's why I wanted more of, because Bo Dallas has said, I found these lost souls. They were abandoned and they had no family and nowhere to go. So that's why I wanted to hear from each of them to say, I was down, I was alone, but he saved me. He gave me a family. And that's kind of what I wanted to hear from those other characters. So that's what I would have liked to have seen. So, because Rowan, it kind of makes sense. But but we'll see what happens. It'd be interesting if they do more packages for the other guys over the next couple of weeks and what kind of explanations they give for them. We had Big Bronson Reed versus Pete Dunne. We almost had it because Sheamus came out and attacked Pete Dunne before the match started, and so it didn't happen. So we didn't get a match. And they interviewed Sheamus later. It's like, what's this feud about? He's like, I don't know. So they keep asking him both, what's this about? Neither of them answers it. And it just keeps happening each week. It's really bizarre at the moment. So I'm not sure where they're going to take this.
I am actually interested to see where this story goes, mainly because I care about Sheamus, and I do care about Pete Dunne because he's a very interesting character because he doesn't say much, and I think that's the reason. I don't think Sheamus knows what's going on, but Pete Dunne is a man of very few words, so it'll be very interesting to see where they go with this. And it's a good little time filler feud where you've got three very different wrestlers who can put on a really good match between the three of them, and you can have multiple different matches between them and have it as something that's effective. So I'm not in love with it. It's a storyline that's just kind of happening, but I think it's good as one to fill time, and it just means that those three aren't just sat on the shelf, which is what they'd be otherwise. Yeah,
it's true. But it's the one storyline that Adam Pearce doesn't seem to get involved in. So it doesn't matter who interrupts who and what matches. Matches get cancelled because of interruptions. I don't care. Just like leave them.
He's too busy off having a drink.
I've got Drew to sort out and CM Punk. I've got all this other stuff going on. Bron Breakker. Yeah, just do what you want. I don't care.
I worry about Adam Pearce. He says he's got to go and have a drink far too often.
Maybe he's going to turn into an alcoholic boss. Can you imagine? That'd be quite something.
Imagine you were the boss of Raw. And you had to put up with all of that shit.
I'd be an alcoholic too.
I tell you, when it hits Netflix, he's going to be carrying a drink in his hand. Watch. He's going to have a hip flask. Anytime someone gives a grief backstage, he'll be like, oh, take a shot. Then we had a backstage segment. The Judgment Day licking their wounds. Carlito, he's like, it didn't go so good. When they had their feud with Jay. Again, Carlito's like the best thing there. Finn Balor, he said he went to Pierce and he got a match for him and JD to take on Sami Zayn and Jey Uso that night. And he said next week, Finn has arranged a match for him versus Gunther. So this is where I said he's getting involved.
I missed that.
Priest. Yeah. So he says he's getting involved in, Priest's business. And this is where I think it's going to come to a head at SummerSlam. So Ray said, Jey Uso was supposed to be off limits, and she said to Dom, where were you? And Carlito's like, you should ask Liv. I was just like, yo, dog, to do your boy like that.
You're supposed to have his back, man.
Exactly. And that's when Rhea drags Dom to the ring. But so it didn't go, it wasn't that clear. But so we've got Finn Balor versus Gunther next week, which I thought was very
That'll be a banger.
Yeah. So how do you think this is going to play out to Priest when he finds out that Finn's arranged this match?
I think it will be a thing of he'll be annoyed, and it'll be, because the mindset will probably be like, oh, you're trying to soften up Gunther before I get the match against him. The problem is, I think that Finn Balor is going to get spun inside out, twisted up. Like I think by the end of the match, he's going to look like an origami swan, right? So I think it's going to backfire. And I think what might happen as the lead up to things will be like they have the match and Damien doesn't interfere to help Finn.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what like kind of assists in going over the edge of like, okay, fine, Judgment Day split.
Yeah, maybe. I think Priest. Yeah, see, I think Priest is going to be obviously pissed that he's getting in his business because he keeps saying, "Stay out of my business," and I think that I think Finn will get beaten up by Gunther, and that might lead to him then interfering in that match, feeling he has to prove something, and because of how he took him out. But we'll see. We'll see. So Rhea Ripley and Doghouse Dirty Daddy Dom went to the ring. And Liv, with the shortest of jean shorts, was present in the arena as well. She made her feelings known to Rhea, and she said she has feelings for Dom, and she knows that he has them for her too, and that handsome men like Dom don't go for women who look like her, but go for women who look like her, Liv. And is going to be a clip that is played many, many times.
I'm sorry. When she said that, I must have been the only person on planet Earth that was shaking my head, dude. Like, no. I say, you good looking girl, but there's levels.
But yeah, she said to Dom, Dom's like, he stopped Rhea from obviously going out to attack. He's like, I'll deal with it. And she's like, tell me those 3 little words. And he's like, I hate you. And he laid it into her and said he hates her, sent Liv off crying. Rhea was very happy. Whispered.
The crowd was happy.
Crowd was very happy, yeah. And Rhea was very happy. She grabbed his face and gave him a good old licking. She gave him a whisper in the ear. I think she said, I'm going to give you some of that hook tour tonight. But, it's like, because Dom looked very happy with whatever she said. So yeah.
What is it? He's just like,
oh my God. Honestly, Huck Tour has ruined the world.
Yeah.
It really has.
In that accent, you're going to get a Huck Tour tonight.
Tour tonight. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Do we think this is all a play? Do we think this is genuine? Do we think Dom is going to turn at SummerSlam?
I have been saying it for months since this started.
Yep,
it is all going to, and it was proven to me when I was watching it this morning. She is 100% going to turn on Mami. Mami will not leave with that title because it will be her. Dom turning on Mami and Liv walking out arm in arm with Dom. And if he then dumps her, if she then dumps him, it'll be even better. But yes, no, I am very quickly becoming a simp for Liv Morgan, and Alexa Bliss needs to hurry up and come back or she's going to lose me. Jesus. No, Alexa, shut up. Alexa, stop. Thank you. No, he's playing music.
She's like, what did I do?
Stop.
Oh dear.
Oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, no. Again, I've said this for weeks now. Is everybody involved in this is just playing this so well. Liv is working to her strengths as how she is to work as a woman against a woman like Rhea Ripley, and yeah, it's just absolutely perfect. We're gonna have a banger of a match.
Yeah, we are.
Because I absolutely believe we're gonna have a banger of a match, and then Dom is gonna. I can't wait to find out how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because the pop and the heat, that if you think Dominik has been booed before, oh my God, is he going to get booed?
You know when they have the meter of the crowd cheering, they need one of Dom for the boos when he comes in to show the meter, the sound levels.
It'll be more than when he turned on his dad.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
It's going to be the most booed thing, I think, in WWE history. I can't wait. It's going to be electric. Where is SummerSlam?
Cleveland.
Any idea what a Cleveland crowd is like? Can they not just go to France for it? Can we not have it in France? We get that reaction from that crowd in France. I rewatched. I heard a whole thing of
Backlash.
I watched a video that had a whole bunch of pops from different things, and it was the evolution of Jey Uso's entrance. And then they go to France, and I forgot how incredible his entrance in France was, with the whole stadium rocking. So no, I hope Cleveland have a really, really good crowd, because it needs it. But I'm assuming they're going to an open air stadium, aren't they?
It would be for SummerSlam.
No.
Yeah. Oh, is it not?
I'm pretty sure it's the Cavaliers Stadium.
Oh, okay. Unless it's got a retractable roof.
Good. I want enclosed. Because the one thing the thing that gets lost is at WrestleMania is, I mean, the pops are huge, but they get lost because obviously it all just goes out through the roof.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, then we had Zelina Vega versus Zoe Stark, and Zelina coming out all banged up with her arms or almost like a half cast, but she cut again another short, strong promo. She's full of confidence. They mentioned actually on commentary about #PushZelina, because she put a tweet out about how she hadn't been pushed forward, how she thought she would. She's never been given the ball. She's like, give me the ball and let me run with it. And, so they did comment on that. And again, they really play into that social media now during the show, which is great. Zelina picked up the win after a ringside shenanigans once again. Was it the right call? Was it Zelina should go over, or should Zoe Stark and that faction kind of show a little bit more dominance here? Was it the right match to even have?
As Zelina was by herself, it was better that she went over, in my opinion. Because the thing is, as you have them as you have this new team, this new faction, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to get over. Whereas when you have one person, it's sort of like you only have that particular moment to do it.
Alex, your thoughts?
It's the letting her wrestle with her arm in that state. CM Punk's been out for ages, hasn't worn a brace in fucking ages.
But she's medically cleared, yeah.
And they bring Zelina out medically cleared with a brace on that's got her arm locked in one position. And then obviously, I mean, she ended up using the cast as a weapon, which is the thing that gave her the win. So it's not an entirely clean win, but it's a baby face. It's a baby face, not clean win. If that makes any sense, where the fans will be behind that kind of thing. It's an equalizer, isn't it?
Yes,
it is.
It's an equalizer. But I don't think the match maybe should have happened, because I just this new faction shouldn't be losing yet.
Well, that's true. I think in general, new factions shouldn't lose.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because then you just get a fucking retribution.
Yeah.
Don't ever bring them up again.
It's such a shame, though. I think I've said this before. I thought the idea of retribution was so fucking good. It was such a good idea, especially in the whole pandemic era.
Yeah.
Fucked it. Absolutely fucked it.
Right, so then we move backstage, and we're with the women's tag team champions, who I'd forgotten about, to be honest. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And I forgot who they were. I forgot that they were champions even. So, but they said they're going to be back on Smackdown this week to address Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill's challenge for the titles. Sonya Deville with Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler, they interrupt, saying, you should be worried about us, and they made their intentions clear. And Alex mentioned on the show last week, we need a name for these guys. We need them to have a faction name now to be able to start speaking about that rather than just referring to themselves as a group all the time. Well, there you go. Then we had our main event of the night. We had Sami Zayn and Jey Uso versus Finn Balor and JD Madonna, and Sami and Jey with the win. What did you think of the match, guys?
Bonkers.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. I can't. So much. When you go to a comedy gig and it's so funny you don't remember a joke. That's how I feel about this match. I just remember going, ooh, a lot.
Yeah.
And going, oh. and I don't remember what happened.
You can't remember the spots. Yeah, it was how it made you feel. Yeah,
I just remember it was absolutely awesome, and you know, I mean, there was no way Sammy and Jay were going to lose because it's a good feel good feeling, and then it opens stuff up for the title match. But yeah, just I love crazy bonkers matches like that where it just goes on forever. People should have fucking died, and somehow people are alive. And yeah, it was mental, absolutely mental.
Neil,
I loved it. I mean, the thing is, even though he is super limited in moveset and whatnot, I love watching Jay.
As a tag team wrestler, he's different.
He is.
He's not the same as a tag team wrestler. He is a very different competitor to a singles star. He works well with a tag team partner.
Because
that's why he's one of the best tag team members of ever.
But it's probably because of the fact that, you know, when he's a tag team wrestler, it's waiting for him to get in the ring.
To have that hot tag to do that moveset.
Yeah.
But now he just has that moveset and he needs that build up and a different kind of finish. So yeah, no, agreed. And then to close out the show, Braun Breaker comes in and spears the crap out of Sami Zayn, which is great. And like we said, I think, you know, they need to pull the trigger with him, and I think he needs to walk out of SummerSlam as champion.
I think him not winning against Sami at the last pay-per-view was a really good litmus test for the reaction, which was, can't believe it. And I think it was a good thing to do to make him lose it, because then you get a feel for it from the audience, which has gone, he should have fucking won that match.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be a case of he's going to be absolutely relentless, and it'll be Goldberg style match.
Okay, and so that wrapped up Raw for this week. So coming up on next week's Raw, we have Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross. Xavier Woods went to Adam Pearce and asked for a one-on-one match, so we have that. And then we have Finn Balor versus the Ring and King General Gunther. On SmackDown...
The King General. I fucking hate that. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
It's not
just call him King Gunther. That makes more sense.
No, but you know what it is? I think what makes me laugh is the King General actually works because Gunther is too classist to be referred to as a king.
No, but because of the type of class he is, the king is the king, and a general would report to a king.
They'd work for a king, wouldn't they?
Yeah, possibly.
In a monarch situation, they'd be your
the king has their generals
reporting to the kings. Yeah,
like Caesar always had his generals.
And then we have next week on SmackDown, we have a tag team championship #1 contenders gauntlet match, which we have the Street Profits, Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin, the Bloodline with Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu versus Legados del Fantasma, Pretty Deadly, and the OC. So, gentlemen, how do you see this one going? Who's going to come out on top as the #1 contenders?
My hot take, I don't like gauntlet matches.
You said that.
I know.
I remember you saying that.
I do not like gauntlet matches because unless it's the one where the New Day helped Kofi, no one comes off strong because nobody ever goes from first to last anymore. So you always know who, if your favorite team comes out first, you're like, oh, well, they're probably not going to win, and they'll win one match and then something will happen. And and it's always the same. It's always the same, which is you have a babyface come out and try and do it valiantly, and then a heel will come and fuck it up, and then one person will lose, and then get beaten up by the person that they just beat. So then they go out. It's always formulaic, and I really, really don't like them. So I don't care. Storyline, obviously, Bloodline goes through.
I only see two possible endings to this. Possible ending one is straight up the Bloodline wins. Which, if they do, and the match is at SummerSlam, I see them winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that also then kind of puts us to the position where that might mean that Solo's walking away with the title.
Yeah.
Which is what I want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, and then you have the bloodline with all the belts again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only other way I see it going is the bloodline make it to the final and Cody screws them over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
It's
don't know
not
if it's
Cody
going to be on the.
though.
No, I don't know if it's going to go on the card because I think SummerSlam's a longer event, right? I think it's going to be more like 4 hours as opposed to 3 for a pay-per-view.
I mean,
it's one of the big ones.
True,
So
but next
it
year
might have a title match
Mm.
because the tag teams
'cause
haven't been defended on a pay-per-view for a while. They've always been defended on
Since
SmackDown
WrestleMania.
and Raws. Yeah, exactly. They haven't been. So maybe it might take place at the pay-per-view. Yeah, it could be. And then you have the bloodline involved in a match there against, it'd be DIY, isn't it? Tag champs on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I
And when
can't
you
see a
think about it-
situation where the bloodline win the tag championships and Solo doesn't get the belt because then
Yeah.
make him look weak against the rest of the bloodline.
And
Unless
currently there's
Fatu
only
takes
7
over.
matches confirmed. Mhm. Yeah, currently there's only 7 matches confirmed for SummerSlam.
Okay, but that's quite a lot for one night, considering the last pay-per-views they've been only doing 5 matches. So it's
Yeah,
nothing to
but
say.
those 5 matches did include 2 multi-person ladder matches.
Mm.
By
Yeah,
the
but
way,
even the
also-
Backlash, all the pay-per-views since Mania have been 5 matches.
Yeah.
So yeah, not necessarily.
By the way, inside the WWE tag team title picture with regards to our SmackDown champions,
DIY?
DIY, that's the one I was looking for. Yeah, sorry, with our tag team champions DIY, they had another interaction with Randy Orton backstage last week, where this time, because they were in Ciampa's hometown, he brought his daughter with to try and distract Randy Orton so that he can hit the RKO. But he missed again and hit a table and went off into the backstage area. It is outside of normal storylines, it is my favorite thing going on in WWE. I literally sit there waiting for Johnny Gargano's Twitter or Instagram or TikTok to turn up first so I can see how they just don't, how Ciampa just doesn't RKO Randy Orton. It is one of my favorite things at the moment, and it is comedy gold.
You know, just a tip for them. Maybe don't scream out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Right, Jez, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up today?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
The rumor mill has been spinning that Bobby Lashley and MVP are waiting for their contracts to expire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they are not re-signing.
Yeah, looks like they're going to go to, the rumor is they're going to potentially try to go to AEW to restart the Hurt business there with Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
It's a weird one for me. I mean, I'm not bothered about MVP. He's a good mouthpiece, but whatever. Bobby's one of those weird enigmas in wrestling because he's a generational freak of nature talent. You know, from his size on a Batista and Brock Lesnar kind of scale, but he's just never been able to be the guy properly. I think it might have a lot to do with the fact that his character and mic work isn't as good as some of the other big guys, and it's a shame because he worked well when he had MVP as his mouthpiece. But I just guess that Triple H wasn't really bothered. And, you know, I mean, how old is Bobby Lashley? He's got to be 46, 47. So another one going off to the retirement village over at AEW.
Yeah, I mean, he's done well. I mean, he's at least a 2-time WWE champion.
Yeah. He's a Grand Slam champion.
Is he a Grand Slam?
Pretty certain.
is.
Right.
No, he's not
okay.
won a tag titles.
Yes, he has. Must have done. I'm
pretty
Googling.
sure he has.
I'm Googling.
So I'm going to say since his return, he's captured both the Intercontinental and United States Championship.
WWE Championship.
And then he beat The Miz to be WWE Champion, in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's won the tag championships before, though. So, yeah.
Oh, actually, no, he does. The only thing he needs is a tag title. I can't believe he's not had a tag title. That's a shame. Definitely someone who deserves to have been a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, I'd agree. Okay, that's it. Alex, anything you want to mention before we go?
No, we're all right. I've got nothing to plug at the moment. Actually, no, I have got something to plug. I got very angry the other day doing some sim racing, and somebody crashed into me. And I made a very short video on it. So if you go to my YouTube, there's a minute and 15-second long video of me getting rather angry about a computer game. It's really funny because I was so fucked off at the time. And now I watch back and I just laugh at how angry I was. So go on there, make sure you've liked the video, and write a comment, because I would like my YouTube channel to grow just a little bit.
Yeah, and on that note, we'd like to increase our visibility and grow our YouTube channel. So if you're still here, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe on this video on YouTube. It's much appreciated. And if you're listening to the audio version on Apple or Spotify, head on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. And that's it from us this week. And look, thank you very much for joining us as always. It is much appreciated. Alex, Neil, thank you very much for joining me and talking everything WWE. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.